from the deep, dark hollers of southeastern Kentucky, where the moon shines strong. The stories are scary and strange, and your neighbor is probably your cousin. This is Appalachia, not so quiet. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Hillbilly Phantom. And as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife,
Appalachian Shade.
Appalachian Shade. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. Little cut up and beat up from mowing the grass earlier today, but nothing too bad though. So today we're having our usual Monday, some haints and boogers for y'all, some ghosts, some scary stuff. Got several stories lined up for you. Some of them local, some of them are personal stories, which, well, they're also local, but we sit around and have discussions quite often, actually, about paranormal things. It's one of our favorite topics. Easy to make the paranormal kind of a staple of our show. We're always doing scary ghosts or strange creatures.
Seems to draw a lot of interest.
Yeah, people love this stuff, which, I do. I've loved it my whole life. These strange, unexplained things, because we do live in one of those rather unique places.
The Bible Belt.
In the Bible Belt. That's absolutely correct. I'm talking more about how we've discussed before about Appalachia being such a dense and dark forest. There's places that people haven't even discovered yet. But I've actually got some eerie facts about Appalachia. Ran across this and it made me think of what we were discussing the other day. It says these mountains are over 480 million years old. Older than bones, older than dinosaurs. There are thousands of abandoned homes, barns, and collapsed cabins hidden deep in the trees. That's absolutely true. I've actually had several people tell me stories about, walking around out in the woods hunting or something and just coming across some old abandoned,
Shed.
rotten, falling apart cabin or something. And the next one is very important to know. If you're going to be running around in the Appalachian Mountains, cell service is basically useless.
Yes, in most parts.
Yeah, in much of the forest of the Appalachians, you're on your own.
I know where we live at. There's no cell phone service.
Right. Yeah, I'd mentioned that before about how, if you don't have internet, you don't have any way to communicate because...
Or a landline phone.
Or a landline, but, those are becoming fewer and fewer, and we don't have one. We don't have a landline phone, so if we don't have internet, then we have no way to communicate with the outside world. And that's the way it is across a lot of Appalachia. Some of the trees in the Appalachian Mountains are over 1,000 years old. And this is what we were talking about, some of the deeper, darker forests of the region have never been fully explored. It's until what's out there. There are entire ghost towns that are hidden in the forest, former mining camps and logging towns that were just abandoned and left to rot. And you actually see the evidence of that. I mean, just driving around, you'll see these old coal tipples and things.
Old coal camps.
Yeah, that they shut down forever ago, and they're just sitting by the side of the road,
Just rusting.
just rotting to the ground. And it's pretty eerie, pretty scary thing to see, because it used to be, so vibrant. Yeah, there was so much activity going on at these coal tipples, these strip jobs and things, trains and trucks constantly going in and out. And now it's just a big giant hunk of metal rusting and falling down.
Covered in kudzu.
Yeah, covered in kudzu. Exactly. So yeah, we decided we're going to do some more ghost stories tonight, baby. You wanna start us out with a scary ghost story?
Well, I wouldn't call it a ghost story, but it's an experience that I had. So this was back in, I think, 2008. We had been at my grandparents' house. She had gotten lung cancer, and so she was always remodeling her house and buying new furniture and everything. So she couldn't be around all the paint and stuff. So my grandfather took her to a hotel close to the hospital because she had some doctor's visits that week. And so that's the week we were going to try and paint her entire house so she wouldn't be around the fumes. And
Nice little surprise for when she got home.
right, yeah. Well, she knew it was happening, but she just couldn't be
She
there
just couldn't be around it,
yeah,
right?
because of the fumes. She was on oxygen and stuff. So we had been working all week, painting, remodeling, taking up flooring, putting new flooring down. And so we left late that night after we finally got finished with her front living room. She called it her parlor because she had all this really pretty antique furniture in there that she wouldn't let nobody sit in. Couldn't sit in it. It was just,
Well, I was about to say a fancy sitting room, but she wouldn't let anybody sit
no,
there.
well, if some of her friends from out of state and things like that, I've known for
Oh,
her to let
important
them.
people came around.
Yeah, she would have let them. They would go down and have coffee, and she's like she was a little bougie. My mama was
Oh, okay.
a little bougie.
Bougie.
Yeah, Appalachian grandma. So, like everything else in the house is rustic, and uh, and then she had this big fancy room. It looked like something staged in the White House or whatever. It
Wow.
was great. It's all Queen Anne chairs and stuff like that.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, but she was proud of it. No one could, be down there, and she would watch you like if you dusted, watching all of her things, and she would
All of her
glove. She would
knickknacks.
yeah, she would glove test it. It's like this isn't clean enough. Like had
Oh,
to be cleaned. So, but anyway, we had finished cleaning that room up and painting, redoing everything that she wanted done. And we had left late that night. And by the time we got home, we received a phone call from my mom. My grandparents' house was on fire.
holy cow.
Yeah. I was like, well, we just left there. Like, what's going on? And my mom's like, I don't know. She's like, just get here. And she's like, the fire department's on their way. So yeah, they assumed it was something electrical, is what the state fire marshal found out. Just by checking
Something
everything.
electrical. I mean,
Yeah.
it's lucky that you all
Well,
got out of there.
so history of the house. It was my grandmother's mother that that was her home. So
So your great grandmother.
yeah, it was my great grandmother's home. So it was rather old.
So rather, yeah, a pretty
Right.
old house. Probably didn't have electricity originally. They
Yeah.
probably ran the wiring.
And I always wondered as a child, we would go up in the attic and there was this like old wires up there running everywhere, like lots of electrical wires. But I never said anything. I didn't understand it as a child, but now I do as an adult.
Yeah.
So just wires on top of wires over the years, rewiring things,
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm sure varmints getting in there and chewing on
Yeah.
them and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, that it was a total loss. But the weird thing is, um, as we were sitting there, we wanted to save the home, but by the time the fire department got there, it was kind of fully engulfed,
There
and
was any hope of
there
saving
was
it.
nothing to do, that they really could do other than just to control the fire and keep it from spreading elsewhere to other homes and
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
But I remember us sitting just below the house in a curve, like at the other neighbor's house, and she had brought my mom and my aunts out a chair because they were very distraught, and we hadn't told my grandparents at this time. That was their childhood home. That's where they growed up, and sitting there watching it
Yeah.
burn. They're losing everything,
Yeah.
photos, things like that, personal belongings that they
Yeah.
thought was safe at their mom and dad's house and weren't going to retrieve till maybe something happened to them.
Right.
So they kind of left all of that there.
So it was
But
like not just grandparent stuff,
right, it was my great grandparents' stuff.
but your great grandparent stuff. Probably a lot of old, very valuable things.
Yeah.
And it all went up in smoke.
Yeah, because like I said, my grandma had a lot of antiques, and then
Yeah.
her mom had a lot of antiques.
Yeah, I can
Stuff
imagine. You
there.
said that big fancy room. I bet none of that was cheap.
So we were all sitting there, and one of the firefighters came to us and said, "Are you all sure there's no one in that house?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "In that front room, there's no one in that house." So he's pointing toward the left side of the house, and you can see in the window, it looks like a silhouette of someone there, like an elderly woman there, and she's waving. It's like going on the entire time that the house is burning, like in the window, just like an elderly woman waving her hand. And
Standing in the
my mom
flames.
just starts crying, and she says, "That's my grandma." She's like, "That's my grandma."
Oh, yeah. So it was your great grandma.
Yeah. And, they're like, "We're gonna go in and check." My mom's like, "There's absolutely no one there." There's no one. They're like, and everybody's like, "Sure, are you sure?" And they're like, "We're positive because our
So
mom and dad are gone to Lexington." She
this
had
was a mass experience. So all of you, including the
fire,
firefighters,
yes, seen
saw
it, and our
this.
neighbors seen it.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible. Man, I wish somebody had a camcorder or a camera or
yeah,
something at that time.
but it was an experience for sure. So
That's wild.
yeah, so it's kind of like she was telling them all goodbye, because like just the remnants of all her memories.
Yeah.
So it was sad.
Yeah, but man, that's
Yeah,
incredible
it
that
was.
all those people.
And just the firefighters were going to risk their lives because it looked so much like a human that was there in the window.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. I mean,
Yeah,
they see somebody in the window standing in the flames waving. I mean, yeah, that would be their initial thought is, "Hey, there's somebody still in there. We got to go in." But then all of you are like, "Nope,
there's no one there.
nobody
Yeah,
there." Man, that is incredible. That's a
yeah,
great story. It really is. So this was kind of more of the benevolent type of spirit, I guess. Another example of just a loved one saying goodbye. I guess maybe part of their spirit or something was tied to that place
yeah.
because, like
Or
you said, all their stuff was there.
it
And
could have been tied to just a certain object that was there or something.
right,
So
yeah, could have been. But some piece of her was there for all of you to witness her standing in the window waving goodbye. That's just awesome. Well, now I'm going to take us down a little rabbit hole. Some of my friends out there that might possibly be listening will know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I told you about the house I grew up in and how I felt it was possibly the spirit of my grandfather, grandmother, a lot of the time, and how I felt they were just, kind of hanging out, watching over me type of thing. Well, when I was 21, 22, maybe 22. I think I was 22. Anyway, I decided, I'm a big grown man. Me and some of my friends decided we were going to rent a place together. So, get out from under mommy and daddy and live by our own rules type of thing. We found a house that's actually not very far from where my mom and dad
so you
lived.
can run home and get you a hot meal later,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it was only like 3 miles down the road or something. But it was an old house. It was a really old house that had been on the creek for a long time. And I remember some of the older folks, including my parents, telling me about uh, the woman that lived there and how she was, like this really kind, wonderful person. Any of the kids on the holler that were running around playing, if they came to her house, she always had a drink and a sandwich for them. She even ran. They actually called it a foster home for a while.
That's my kind of neighbor.
Yeah, because she she kept so many kids, that weren't wanted or their parents couldn't take care of them for some reason. She was raising them. So besides her own kids, she was raising like a whole community of other kids. So, my immediate thought is if there is anything there, it's probably this kind old woman. So probably don't have to worry about it. So the son of this old woman is the one who owned the house now. And just to get a little extra income, he rented it out. Now the guy who had been renting it out cut a big hole in the dining room part of the house. You come through the front door, you have a living room. To the left is a bedroom. You walk into the dining area, there's just a little doorway. Walk into a dining area, on the left is a bedroom. You walk into the kitchen area, which is wide open, kind of connected to the dining area. There's a bathroom on your left. Okay, near the wall, this guy cut a hole in the dining room floor and built steps down into the basement and started putting up walls in the basement and sectioning the basement off into other rooms. And he was using like rough lumber, so it looked kind of crappy, to be honest. So the guy that was renting the place, he didn't give this guy permission to do all this. And he comes down there and sees, and he's like, "What the heck? I didn't want you to do all this. Get out of my house." So he kicks the guy out and he ends up renting to us. Now, right away in this house, it felt a little eerie. You kind of had that being watched feeling a lot. You'd be standing there and feel like somebody's right behind you looking at you. You turn around, nobody's there. But that's all it was for a little while. Now, like I said, there was 2 bedrooms upstairs. One of my friends took one of them, the other one took the other one. And I said, "You know what? I'll take the basement. It's big, open, and this guy had sectioned off one part was sectioned off really good, and it can be used as a bedroom." So that's what I did. I used that section as a bedroom, and then right behind it was like the washer and dryer area. So me and one of my roommates are sitting in the house one day in the living room area. We're watching TV. I don't even remember what was on TV, but we're laughing about what's on TV. We're talking about it. We're talking about other stupid stuff. For whatever reason, me and him weren't working at that time, but our other friend was at work. So while we're talking, I start hearing something that sounds like murmuring, two or three people talking kind of low. And I was like, hey, man, turn the TV down. And he mutes the TV, and you can hear very clearly. It sounds like people in the kitchen kind of talking really low.
Having a
Murmuring.
conversation.
Yeah. And I look at him, and he looks at me, and I was like, you hear that? He's like, yeah, let's go check it out. So me and him both jump up and run through the doorway into the dining area, and the sound stops instantly. And we were like, whoa, what was that? Never had anything like that happen before. So we went about our business. Didn't really have anything else happen for a little while. One day, I come home from work. Nobody else is there. Everybody else has gone to work as well. I'm all by myself. I go in the house. I go down into the basement. And I decide I'm just going to kick back on the bed and watch some TV until somebody gets here. So I kick back, turn on the TV. I had it down kind of low because, I was thinking, maybe I'll take a nap. Next thing I know, I hear footsteps above me. It sounds like somebody's walking through the living room into the dining room. And then you hear their footsteps coming down the stairs. I was like, oh, one of my roommates is here. And, it's coming downstairs to get me for whatever reason. So I hit mute on my TV, and I'm just laying there. I hear footsteps come off the steps, and kind of like a shuffling noise that your feet make, when you're walking across concrete. When you're I hear that approaching my door. So I'm just laying there looking at the door, waiting on one of my roommates to open it up. I'm like, hey, what's up? So I'm just sitting there waiting. Hello? Is somebody there? Nobody answers. I know, I just heard somebody walk up to this door. So I get up, open the door. Nobody's there. I walk upstairs. I go through the whole house. Nobody's there. I look outside. My car is still the only one in the driveway. Nobody is there. So that sent a pretty good shiver down my spine.
Yeah, I would have already moved out.
And I went back to my room and turned the TV back on, just laid there. Finally, my roommates did come home. But we all had various experiences. Eventually, one of my friends had to move out, and my brother moved in, and we had all kinds of experiences. I'll talk about one more personal experience I had there. Was when my brother moved in, he took over in the basement, and I moved upstairs into the bedroom of my former roommate, one of my former roommates. And my brother had actually got me a book. I think it may have been for my birthday or something. But it was a book about this woman had wrote, and it was all about ghost hunting and her experiences that she had had in ghost hunting and stuff around Kentucky. I think she was actually a member of one of the societies, like the Ghost Hunters of Louisville or something like that, or Louisville Ghost Hunters Society. But anyway, I'm reading this book, and I'm reading the part where she's talking about when she was a kid, and this shadowy form used to come right into her bedroom and stand at the foot of her bed and stare at her. No. And I was like, man, that's creepy. So I'm laying in bed. I've just read this story, and I'm thinking about how creepy it is. And my computer desk was in the corner of the room, and on the monitor for my computer, I had a hat sitting there. My hat flies off the monitor and smacks against the door. And I was like, oh boy, okay, that's enough for me. I put the book down. I got out of bed, and I went and hung out with my friends who were sitting in the living room drinking and carrying on. But that house, man, that was, I call it the most haunted house that I've lived in. Absolutely. Because I had way more experiences there than I did at my mom and dad's house.
I would have moved back in with my mom and dad.
And I thought about it. And they were just like, they were like stronger experiences. And like I said, my friends also had experiences. We saw figures, we saw lights dancing around in the yard, along with my cat. My cat was actually the one that originally saw a little ball of light floating around in our yard. My brother had somebody scream in his ear while he was in the basement listening to some music. It was a pretty intense place, and that's just a few of the stories. I'd love to have some of my friends out there that I know may be listening, might like to get you guys to come on sometime. Call in. Maybe you can talk about some of the experiences you had down there at that house, because yeah, that was a pretty crazy place. So there's my personal story. So,
was it still standing?
Yeah, that house is still there as far as I know. Well, that that guy, the old lady's son who was originally renting it, he unfortunately passed away as well. I think his son owns it now. And I believe they may be renting it out too. I've not really heard anybody talking about, having any experiences there, but I've not really talked to anybody that's lived there since me. So, but there's the idea that you start doing things at a location, like you start doing construction to a house and changing things around, that it'll cause these spirits that are usually, they've kind of gone dormant. You don't really have any experiences, see things or hear things. But then you'll start doing construction, remodeling the home, and all of a sudden activity picks up. Things start happening, things you can't explain. And that's kind of my theory on maybe what happened there. Because like I said, the guy, he never gave that previous tenant permission to do any of that. And this guy just went to town, changing up this house, remodeling things. So maybe he stirred something up. But there's plenty of such tales all over Knott County and Appalachia. In fact, we have another kind of famous haunting from Knott County. The last time we talked about a famous haunting, it was Johnny Booger. But this time, Shade is going to tell us a little bit about a building that we all know.
You pass daily.
Yeah. I mean, you pass it daily if you go on 80. It's the Motel 80.
Yeah, 80 Motel. So this is like a true crime and folklore, I guess, because there's really no documentation that I've been able to find, like a newspaper article or anything like that, news report about this. Rumors is it happened in the 1980s when a man allegedly discovered his wife with her lover at the motel.
Okay, so let me pause you for just a second. So we're not for sure, because there's no kind of news article or anything related to it.
Right.
I mean, come on, 80s.
Yeah.
They would keep stuff out of the papers. So it's very possible that this was just kept out.
So yeah, maybe something domestic. It's not really something that's going to be headlined in the news.
Right.
So apparently the angered husband goes to look for his wife. And
this is already sounding like a Garth Brooks
song. He's not happy, so he's able to find what room that they're in, and he breaks into the room and kills them both.
Does it say how? Was it like a knife, a gun?
It was a gun. Yeah, it was a gun. Yeah, he shot them both.
So he shot both of them.
Yes. So it is said that when you visit the hotel now, that the man, the woman's lover, is said to switch the lights on and off.
So they think it may be the ghost of this.
And they've seen apparitions of the man walking the halls. That a report of a Pepsi can levitating, then slamming down beside a visitor that had stayed there.
A Pepsi can levitating?
Yes.
Cow. So a Pepsi can just lifted up and then slammed back down.
And there's been reports of hearing screaming in the parking lot area, like hearing the woman screaming.
Well, that's terrifying.
In the parking lot area.
Motel 80. Yeah.
Motel 80.
I have actually heard throughout the years about the 80 Motel being haunted. Now, I don't remember hearing exactly that story, but I've had people that have said they've stayed there and said that, they hear knocking at the door. They see shadows moving in the corners of the room. One of them, I know it was to the point that they couldn't stay there and they checked out and left.
Yeah. So it says after the murder, the motel allegedly struggled to change hands, then fell into disuse. And in the early 2010, it was reportedly seized by the U.S. Marshal during a drug investigation. But since then, no one's wanted the property after that. But today, I'm pretty sure that they're used as apartments. The last I was there was, and I went in there, had a client at the time that I was taking care of that I had moved in there, but I didn't stay long. So this was during the day.
So you were actually there, but you didn't.
Right. And it was just made into small little apartments, just bedroom, bathroom, and they were allowed to have a hot plate and a microwave and a fridge. So it's basically a hotel room, and they were charging them $500 a month just to stay there.
$500?
Yeah, for a hotel room.
For a hotel room.
For a month.
Well, I mean, that's cheaper than what a hotel room will cost you.
Well, I mean, if it had all the, at least had a living room in it or something.
Yeah, but I mean, Motel 80, it's not exactly the Hilton or anything.
Yeah. But I mean, while I was there, I felt a little weird, and I didn't know anything about this at the time, so
I mean, that could be a good explanation. Like, I don't think I've ever heard any explanation for exactly why it closed down, because it did. It started just kind of going downhill and
yeah.
wasn't being used, and I never really knew why. Maybe this is why. They're
Yeah.
like, nobody wanted anything to do with it because of a murder. That's crazy. The
So,
80
but if no
Motel.
one's using it now, we've been talking about tourism and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's do ghost walks.
Ghost adventure at the 80
Motel.
Motel. Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And let's see if this is true or not.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever went there to investigate it or anything.
But when I went there, like the room the lady was in was very dark and gloomy.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a creepy looking place anyway. When you drive by, pay attention. It's dark and just back up there against the hillside, and it's kind of like looming by the side of the road like a shadow. So yeah, that would be cool if somebody could go in there and do an investigation, see if they catch anything.
And if anybody has any more details about this,
Yeah, yeah.
leave in the comments.
Absolutely. Yeah, if anybody knows if this story might be actually true, if there could have been a murder there at the 80 Motel.
Or if you have any stories that you've heard
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's others out there that have been to the
Or
motel,
experienced it.
and yeah, maybe they've experienced it firsthand or know people that have. And the 80 Motel, like I said, it's kind of a famous ghostly place, because like I said, I've heard stories, and I just assumed that other people had heard those stories as well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's other events that have happened there since then as well, but I can't remember what they were.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that they've had experiences there, and I've had people tell me, "Oh, my friend or my uncle or something like that told me that this happened to him there." I don't know if anybody's went on the record with any of this.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of a blank looking up on Google trying to find information about any of this. And like I said, the story, you couldn't discern if the story was for
I've
real
heard
or not.
about it.
Yeah, it seems like I've
later.
heard something about a murder there before too. But yeah,
Not when I went there to visit and, probably like 2013, 14. But then after that, everybody's like, oh, yeah, that place is haunted. I'm like,
yeah.
no wonder I felt weird.
But that's just another one of the famous buildings of Knott County that are rumored to have ghosts. There's several buildings. I'm pretty sure that there are rumors of the settlement school possibly being haunted. There's
The jailhouse.
yeah, there's rumors about the jailhouse possibly being haunted. These are places I've read about and heard from other people. I don't really know anything about them. So
And I've also heard at the mouth of Neely Creek and Pine Top that the old schoolhouse there
oh yeah,
is haunted as well.
what school was that?
I have no idea. It was an old classroom.
Pine Top
Mm-hmm.
High School.
Well, I would assume it's probably like Neely Creek or something like that.
But we also have the Manson House.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we do have that.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Charles Manson, the infamous serial killer, actually has Kentucky roots. He has family in Kentucky and
Knott County roots.
in Knott County. He has family in Knott County, and he actually stayed here for a little while as a teenager. He was staying with his mom. They were at the Blue Moon Cafe or Blue Moon Diner, something like that.
Like a brothel.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough place
Yeah.
from everything you hear. And I guess his mom must have been selling herself there, I guess, and he would stay with his family down in Mousy and stuff until
This structure's on
she was done.
Jones Fork Mountain.
Yeah, the building's still there, and there was all kinds of people breaking into it. I've heard people claim, but yeah, it's haunted, but I've not really heard any. I've not heard any specific stories about it. It's just people saying, "Oh yeah, that's where Charles Manson stayed for a little while. Yeah, that place is haunted." That's all you hear.
I mean, it could be. Look how screwed up he was.
Yeah, well, I mean, could be. And like I said, it wasn't exactly a nice place.
Right.
It was kind of a den of sin.
It's in telling what he's seen, what happened to him.
I mean, there was probably murders that happened there
Right.
several times, and the bodies were like dumped over the mountain or something. I mean,
Yeah.
those kinds of things happened back in the deep dark woods of Appalachia. And you hanging out at a rough place.
Yeah, hanging out at a brothel with a bunch of drunk men.
But yeah, I don't have any more information about that place either. But it's kind of a
We know it's still standing.
yeah, it is still there. Somebody bought it and they keep it locked up.
However, do not trespass. Try to
Yeah, don't absolutely
ask
do
for
not.
permission
Yeah,
before visiting.
and I don't think they'll give you permission anyway. They don't want anything to do with all this. I don't think because I'm pretty sure I read something about they've been asked about making it
A museum.
a museum or a landmark of some kind, and they weren't interested in doing that.
But I mean, you can drive by and get pictures.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares if you took a picture as you drive by or something. Yeah, don't be stopping there and like peeking through the windows and all that.
Not many
crap.
windows left.
Yeah, a lot of them are busted out. But yeah, that's another interesting building in Knott County that apparently has some ghostly stories behind it. And speaking of ghostly stories, Shade.
Yes, I have another.
Would you like to tell us a little ghost story?
Okay, so this is one of my 5-minute reads from a book that I purchased several months ago. It's called The Ghost Tales and Superstitions of Southern Appalachia. And all of these stories are from Tammy J. Poore. So the one that caught my attention that I recently read is about 7 boys who had gone into the woods camping on a weekend. And they left on a Friday and they told their parents that they would be back Sunday.
Okay, let me pause you for a second. Do we have any idea what part of Appalachia this story may have took place in?
No, it doesn't say.
Okay.
What? Right. Just in the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay,
I got you. So these boys go camping, and their parents are waiting for them to return on Sunday evening, and they don't show up. And the parents are like, okay, maybe they're lost. We'll give them a little longer to get out. And by Monday morning, they didn't show up. So they end up sending a group of men, mostly their fathers, out to hunt for them. And the men show up to what should have been a campsite, but there was no tents pitched. There was no fire made. It was all 7 of those boys and their belongings laying in a circle. And the ground looked like it had been pummeled, as well as the boys with body parts laying inside the circle.
Gee.
Yeah, and all the trees and saplings around had been twisted and bent and broken, flattened. They said that all the boys had their eyes open and the look of fear on their faces. At first, there was speculation that maybe the boys just had been boys and started pretend fighting, I guess, with objects and actually ended up hurting each other, killing each other. And then there were speculations that maybe some moonshiners had killed the boys because they had trespassed.
Entirely possible.
Right. But they said they couldn't really wrap their head around of what pummeled the ground and while they were in a circle and like all the grass and everything around it was just gone.
So when you say pummeled, you're talking about like an animal
large,
or something?
Yeah, like a
them?
large animal had trampled them into the ground.
So they still had all their belongings and they were laying in a circle. Their bodies were pummeled. The ground around them was pummeled.
All the trees and saplings around them.
All the trees and stuff were all knocked up, twisted up, knotted up. That's crazy.
And so they said that when they got to the boys that morning that it smelled so much of corn and the dads had to build sleds to bring them out and they had to bury them right away because they were decomposing so quickly.
For those that don't know, corn, that's a definitely
it means rotting flesh.
Definitely an Appalachian word, corn. Yeah. That's what the vultures and stuff like to eat is the rotting flesh and stuff. So that's
so it just weighed heavily on the community and no one could really figure out what happened and explain the circle. And they said that the grass didn't grow back correctly. It was way greener than any of the other grass that growed in the area. And that it only would blow in one direction when the wind would blow.
That's weird.
And they say sometimes at night you could hear up on the ridgeline screaming. Yeah,
screaming. You got to wonder. I mean, what could have possibly done that? I mean, if you're trying to find a logical explanation, because they've been trampled by horses or cattle. Right. You think the cops would have been able to tell that?
A UFO? I mean,
a UFO? Yeah. What if a UFO?
They said it was like a circle that was flattened out. over them. I mean, they were,
Maybe it's alien.
yeah.
Or maybe it's like the Devil's Circle. I think it's in North Carolina, and it's kind of like that. It was a spot of ground where it was kind of known as a witchcraft, devil worshiping type of place, and they used to put weird circles and stuff on the ground. But now there's this big bald spot of dirt, and nothing will grow there. That's what that reminds me of. And they said that if you stand in the circle, like the devil will appear and stuff like that. So
That's interesting.
yeah, it kind of it kind of hints at that to me. They were laying in a circle and they were pummeled.
Yeah.
What if?
But it doesn't explain the vegetation around them being twisted and bent
Right.
and broke. It's like something just landed
Like I
and
said,
smushed
it
them.
could if it's some sort of animal or something, or you know, I mean, spinning around in a circle, stomping. It could have broke tree limbs and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, very well could have been a UFO as well. These aliens, you don't know what they're going to do.
I know they kind of described it as like maybe a tornado, like just touched in that area. But they didn't say anything about storms that day or anything like that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's kind of a spooky story.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes stuff spooky is when there's no answers and there's really no good explanation for things of that nature. Trampled in a circle.
And actually, one of the moms had drawn a picture of what her husband had described to her as what it looked like. And I can share that on our TikTok, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to put up the name of this book, maybe this picture. Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, it doesn't look like an adult picture, it's like she just did the best she could to try to describe it.
So it says my mother's interpretation of how the boys were found. And yeah, it's just a sketch, a quick little pencil sketch. It says 7 mountain boys at the bottom, and yeah, it's like a circle. They're not laid out in a circle. Their bodies aren't.
But they're in the circle.
But they're within this circle. Man, that is strange. That is so wild. It'd be cool to know maybe what area this took place in. Maybe be able to find some kind of information about it, some kind of news article or something from the local area. It doesn't give you any kind of a time frame or location, so it's kind of hard to really nail anything down on that. But it's a very strange story. So it's just the woman that wrote the story. Her mother
was a child
a child when this happened, and she told her the story and showed her that picture that she had drawn of what her father had saw. Yeah, that's a crazy story. They really kind of get your gears working, trying to figure it out. So what could have possibly happened? Yeah, I'd love to hear, if there's some truth to that story, if there's some kind of maybe newspaper or something that had something about that, maybe get some validation. But it's hard to get that, when you have these old stories that are usually just passed down.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of our stories are.
And that's why we like to tell stories in Appalachia. We try to keep the tradition going.
Yeah, that's why we like to do things like this where we just sit on the front porch and yak about things, yak about life, mysteries, life, love, and everything. So yeah, if anybody out there might possibly know more about this story, leave us a comment, send us a message somehow.
Yeah, I want to give this lady credit again. And you can get this book on Amazon is where I've got it from. It's called The Ghost Tales and Superstition of Southern Appalachian Mountains. And it's by Tammy J. Poore.
Tammy J. Poore.
And there's just a collection of different stories in there.
Yeah, it's got some very neat little creepy stories in it. But that's the thing with a lot of the stories in Appalachia, like with Motel 80, with Johnny Booger's grave, with Charles Manson's childhood home. These are just stories. We don't know if they're true or not, but that's what's kept Appalachians like us going. These stories, these strange occurrences, trying to figure out exactly what's going on around us.
I wonder if people in Appalachian are just sensitized to this. Like, we're more aware of it than people that don't live around here because...
Could be. We could be attuned to it somehow because we're from the area. We live in the area. We grew up with these things.
We're more in tune with nature here.
In tune with nature.
The mountains themselves.
Yeah, we're in tune with nature. We're in tune with the animals and things living around us more, I think, than somebody who lives off in New York City or something.
Right. I've always wondered that because, like, I know I like to take my shoes off sometimes and just walk barefoot through the grass, and
Oh
you
yeah,
just get a sensation. I call it grounding, or
yeah. That's
that
what they call it.
just
It's called grounding.
a relaxing feeling
Yeah,
in the area.
it's like this natural connection that people have with the earth, and it's kind of this skin on ground contact. It just kind of brings you this sense of belonging,
Yeah.
and your insignificance, but also your importance.
I know we get made fun of a lot for going barefoot. If you take your shoes off and just experience that feeling,
Yeah, take your shoes off, run through the grass, man.
you just, feel the earth beneath your feet.
Yeah,
It's not because we're,
backwards and
backwards, and
weird.
yeah, it's just,
It's just it's something that kind of it grounds us,
yeah,
keeps us connected to these mountains, to these forests.
especially on a stressful day to go outside and pull your shoes off and just walk through the yard.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I never liked walking through gravel.
No, I haven't done that in years. I know as a little kid, I used to be able to run over them, and my dad would tell me I
Yeah.
had tough feet.
Oh yeah, I could when I was a kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could just run down the driveway, no problem, barefoot, didn't
yeah,
care. But as I got older, I was like, nah. I started avoiding the gravel, and
yeah.
about the only time I go barefoot is in the grass, and even then, I'm a little iffy on it because bees.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, walk through the grass when the grass is cut,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, but I've been stung on the feet several times by bees,
Yeah,
so it's not fun.
or between the toes, that's the
Yeah,
worst.
between the toes
When
is
it
awful.
itches, you can't scratch it really good. Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's
that's
so
horrible.
terrible. But not only are we in tune with these mountains, with these forests, with the nature of Appalachia, we're also in tune with the supernatural of Appalachia, the darker, deeper parts of Appalachia that a lot of people don't know about. These ghosts, these cryptids, these creatures, these haints and boogers and phantoms.
We're also in tune with, like, our kinfolk that's passed and things like that too. It
Exactly.
seems like a lot of us at one point get a visit,
Yeah,
or
it is often seems to be family
yeah,
a lot of times. Like us, when I was growing up, I always assumed it was my grandma and grandpa
yeah.
that were hanging
Whether
out around.
whether it be, in life, or they visit us in our dreams, they connect with us somehow.
Yeah, have dreams. That would be another good show to do.
Yeah.
Dream stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to bring our Otis on with his dream that he had the night your mom passed away. That was
Yeah,
just amazing.
yeah,
And then I call him a minute
dream.
later.
Yeah,
So,
dreams are definitely a window into the supernatural, into our souls. There's more to dreams than meets the eye, I guess.
yeah,
It's not just our brains taking a dump sometimes. Sometimes there's meaning and important things in our dreams. So yeah,
definitely.
we should
Yeah.
definitely do a dream show.
There's always meanings in dreams.
Oh yeah, always. Well, my lovely shade, I think we've reached that time. Time to say goodbye.
Well,
It's
let's
so sad.
celebrate first. Let's celebrate a little bit first. We have 190 streams and downloads.
Oh yeah, we're
So,
just about to that
so maybe,
200 mark.
maybe with this episode we'll reach
Yeah,
200.
maybe we'll hit the 200 mark with this
Yeah,
one.
keep moving on up.
Everybody loves the Haints and Boogers. That's what everybody was requesting right after that
Well,
first
also
episode.
noticed the missing people as well.
Yeah, and
So we're
the
definitely
missing
going to do
person.
more, because there's like 4 more missing people in Knott County.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
There's some more strange disappearances from
yeah.
Knott County. So
But we're just working on our research with those, and we don't want to give any false information or anything like that. So,
right,
but
yeah,
those are coming.
yeah. We want to try to be accurate, but sometimes
Yeah.
we're not, and that's why we're always telling people, hey, if you need to correct us on something, or if you have something to add to the conversation, leave it in the comments. Let us
Yeah.
know. Like I said, maybe we can possibly start bringing people on, doing phone calls.
And especially if it's missing people, maybe we can bring them home.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, if we could do something that might lead to one of these missing people. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that one because I don't know that we'll uncover anything new that hasn't already
Right.
been
But
found out or anything.
I would like to bring them home alive,
But
but
it's
bring them
entirely
home in some aspect for these families to get their closure that they're asking for.
yeah, I mean, it is entirely possible that we might reach somebody that knows something. So that's always a possibility. So that it would be awesome if we could bring some closure to the families that are still wondering what is going on with their missing loved ones. So yeah, we'll look into that. We'll look into a lot more things. We got a lot of shows we're going to do, and I hope that all of you are enjoying these shows, and I hope that all of you will continue to come back and listen and support us. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
And we still have a poll going on Spotify.
We do still have the poll going.
That's going on till next Friday. And we're tied right now, so y'all need to get on there and support me because I'm right.
You are not.
So if you've missed our No Niche Friday episode,
yeah,
go check that out.
Yeah, you got to listen to that one to get this whole back and forth there. Just remember, it's niche.
It's niche.
Okay, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all for listening once again. Come back and see us on our next episode. We love you all from Hillbilly Phantom and
Appalachian Shade.
Y'all come back and listen again. Till then, watch out for them haints and boogers.